Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omni video. Today we're going to do a Should You Pull on Core's banner. I know my voice still isn't 100%. I feel like I'm getting closer. I've been teaching all week, just kind of dealing with it, pushing through, and hopefully we're getting there, right? I feel like stuff is clearing out, so maybe that's a good sign. We'll see. So this banner coming out is going to be a very fun banner. It's going to be my first banner I'm going to pull pretty decently hard on here. I don't even think I've done like pull videos on the last couple banners just because I haven't pulled. Like I just did my free multis, plus I've been sick, so it's like why record it, right? But this banner is going to have Core, and Core is getting an FR and a C90 rework. And then we got Noctis. Now Noctis is just returning and getting force enhancements. Excuse me. So for Noctis, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link my character guide I've already done on him because it's pretty much going to be unchanged. But I will do new guides on Core and Gao. And also at the time that you're watching this video, I haven't done guides on some of the newer characters, so I got to get those out too. So the characters that are currently out right now, so I'm going to record those today also. And then we've got Gao, and I'm actually a big fan of Gao. Obviously Final Fantasy VI, right? But Gao's a very cool character. So just to give you a little summary about like what Gao's about, and then I'll talk about Core. Gao is basically a counter character, and he's unique in that he like counter and heals when he counters, which is really, really nice, right? Kind of like Layla has that too, where like Layla will dodge, counter, and heal and bring the party up. Now Gao isn't really, I don't think I'd consider Gao a tank. He's literally just, if the party gets attacked, he will counter and he will heal, right? Now Gao is always kind of a little bit awkward because he's really built on his rage mode from Final Fantasy VI, and the way the rage mode worked in Final Fantasy VI is like you kind of picked a mode and then he was like locked into it, right? And that's what they tried simulating in the game. So he kind of had like a cat scratch mode or a life shaver mode. Cat scratch was more offensive, and the life shaver was more like counter with like brave gains. And then he had his LD, which was landslide, and then landslide would give him like an HP plus, and it gives him like earth enchant and earth and peril, right? So he's got an element tied to him, right? The thing that was awkward was like if you use landslide, he would then be like locked out of his other attacks, and you always wanted to stay in landslide, right? So what they've done now with this upgrade is they make it so you don't get locked out, and so you can have landslide on and then still have like cat scratch or life shaver on, and I believe he gets like multiple counters now, which is really, really cool. So he's going to be a pretty proficient counter character, and he's going to work really well with characters like Core. He's going to work well with Gladio. Like Gao and Gladio was like one of the original counter combos, right? So something I'm going to try is I'm going to try Core, Gladio, and Gao, and just do a full counter comp, and I think that's actually going to be really fun. So Gao is a very good counter character. Now, Gao isn't like a must pull or like super necessary, especially if you have other counter tanks and counter characters. But if you're lacking counter characters, or you want like a fairly decent, because Gao is a very good low invest character because he's just LD only, and you don't have to have him force enhanced 30, doesn't have to have blue armor. Like you can get his LD, you know, max him up to where you're comfortable, and he's still going to be pretty good, right? Noctis hasn't really changed, so yep, if you like him, he's got his turn shenanigans where he gives the party free turns and it doesn't go against turn count. People have abused Noctis for years to basically get 0 turn clears and things like that. He does a lot of follow-ups, can do launching, so Noctis really does do a lot. He's a speedy character, can steal turns, does work very well with Core. So if you do like Noctis, like he's decent, but he's not like he's not like the best damage healer in the game right now, but he's decent, right? Now Core is absolutely insane. So for those of you unfamiliar with Core, he was a global first, and they made him really busted. So the banner we're getting on here is when like JP actually got him for the first time, and they made him really good. So basically the way Core works is it kind of uses Final Fantasy 15's link system. So he basically like selects a character to link with. He makes it so that him and that character can't be broken. I believe gives them like a bunch of buffs, and then makes it so that basically the way Core works is right before your linked partner himself or the enemy act, he does like follow-ups, or he does like attacks, which is pretty cool. He also has rainbow numbers in his kit. He has a stacking ability where once he gets to his max stacks, he can use Reaper's Gale, which is a free instant turn guaranteed rainbow hit. It's very powerful. So anytime that Reaper's Gal comes up, you pop it. He does pretty good damage on turn. And then mainly you're getting like a ton of off-turn damage with him, and he's like really buffing his linked partner really, really well and having a lot of fun with that, right? So Core is very good for like one of these off-turn kind of extra damage characters, which is really good. So the reason why characters like Core and Gao are particularly exciting, so like if you tried running like, you know, Edge and Galoof and say Gladio, like you can't have too many counter tanks because they have to get hit, right? And then Gladio might cover for Edge, and then Edge doesn't dodge, and it's like you can't get all those counters, right? But what make Core and Gao awesome is they still operate if another character is getting hit. So the way Gao works is just if anyone in the party is hit, he counters. And the way Core works is he just follows up preceding the turn. It doesn't depend on getting hit. So what happens is if you run Gao, Gladio, and then Core, or instead of Gladio could be Oron, could be some other counter character, literally all three characters are doing follow-ups or counters. And Core's FR is kind of like Reno's in that it buffs when you do like counter or off-turn damage. So like you can really build up crazy gauges and build full team comps. So I would say like Reno's one weakness is that his force is really good and you can do these really cool counter comps with him. But the weakness of Reno is that he himself doesn't do like the off-turn damage that you want. He doesn't counter like the other characters do, and he's not like a good tank. Whereas Core has a similar force ability, and he is like a ridiculous counter character, kind of tanks in a way because he makes it so like 2/3 of your team can't be broken. Like I would call that tanking, right? And then if you're comboing with like Gao, he's healing constantly. It's very, very fun. So I would say just, you know, looking at Noctis and Gao alone, they're not like worth summoning for, but Core is ridiculously worth summoning for. And I think the fact that Noctis and Gao are along for the ride are really nice pieces that you can pick up to go with Core. So I think Core is a very good, worthwhile character to pull. I actually do recommend people pull for him. Just so that you guys know, depending on what your resources are, Core is ridiculously good LD only. So if you want to low invest Core, you can, and he's still very good. But his FR is quite fantastic. His other FR condition besides the off-turn damage is just hitting above 999 Brave damage, which is very easy to do because he's got rainbow numbers, and like as long as like a character or two has blue armor, like the blue armor lets you go beyond that 999 pretty easily. So I think it's gonna be fairly often that you're gonna easily hit his force condition. So kind of like Aroha, he's a very easy to use flexible force. So I am going all in. I honestly have Core. The thing that's bad for me is I've got all these characters fully built. I just need the FR, but I don't have Yuri BT. So I might go a little bit deeper on this just because I'm going to need FR dupes. Like I do not have the stones and I need to max out his force. So I might actually like, I might gem this and gem up to the one where I can pick up the 4 high power stones, maybe. And then hopefully just pick up lots of dupes and then maybe get a Yuri BT. Or I might just dump all my tickets and see how many forces I get. We'll have to see. So anyways, guys, bottom line, Core is very much worth pulling for. If you have the resources, I think he's a great character for every player to have. He works on a lot of team comps. I do recommend you pull for him. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.